my name is Mike Acosta here at the 2012 Winter NAMM show here in Anaheim for Arturia, and we are showing the brand new Minibrute. Minibrute is a 100% analog synthesizer with one oscillator, and it's monophonic, of course. And man, this thing sounds great. Obviously the name Minibrute, the size mini, and brute for the brutal kind of sounds that you can actually get out of it. First up, you have a simple sawtooth. But now you can take that simple sawtooth and you have the Ultrasaw. So that's Arturia's new wave shaping circuit. So it's basically giving you like multiple sawtooths that are kind of slightly detuned from each other to add more harmonics. You can also change the Ultrasaw rate as well. Now if I want, we also have a sub-oscillator, so I can take a sub-oscillator that has multiple waveforms, it's square and sine wave on it, and I can also shift it either -1 or -2 octaves, start bringing in that the sub-oscillator. Now the filter that you're hearing is the Steiner Parker Synthicon filter chip that Arturia has put in here, and man, this thing sounds amazing. Arturia actually consulted with Niles Steiner on the schematics for this to make sure that they got it right. He gave the stamp of approval, and now the Minibrute has the Steiner Parker filter built in it. It's a multi-mode filter that has low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch. And when you start cranking the resonance all the way up, it's actually really cool because you can already hear it start to kind of self-resonate a little bit, and I'm not even feeding it anything, so I don't want to hurt your ears, but hence the name, the Minibrute. It can be a little brutal on the ears, but that's all right. Another cool thing that we have, obviously, is you have your square wave. So you have your square wave with pulse width on it. And you also have the envelope amount for the pulse width for negative and positive values. You also have a triangle wave. So there's your triangle. And then we have another really cool wave shaping circuit that we call the metallizer. So as you start to bring that in, it starts doing like some weird harmonic stuff, almost like it's doing like a hard sync kind of. You start mixing that with a sawtooth. Bring in the sub-oscillator. And now you got a really deep sub-bass. Add a little white noise to it. And then what you can do is take the aftertouch that the Minibrute has and assign that to a cutoff. And then you can do some really cool things like this. So what's really cool is that you can take the aftertouch, assign it to the cutoff, and you can do some really crazy stuff like dubstep type of basses. You can also assign the aftertouch to do vibrato as well, so if you have that going. And you can change the rate on that as well. So you have vibrato that you can put on the aftertouch. The mod wheel can also do cutoff, vibrato, and LFO amounts as well. And another great thing too is that you also have an audio input on it. So if you want to take another synthesizer that you have and maybe the filters don't sound that great, you can route it through the Steiner Parker filter on here and actually give it what we like to call the brute factor. So let me show you the bass sound again. Once I start turning up that brute factor, what the brute factor is doing is folding the audio back into the input circuit of the filter. So and the cool thing about it is that the brute factor works in conjunction with the cutoff and the resonance because it's folding the audio back in. Depending on where you have the setting for the brute factor and what you're doing with the cutoff and resonance, you start to get some really funky harmonics to where you can just get total garbage noise that's just awesome, because I love noise that way. or you could just add some really rich low-end, you know, subharmonics to an already beefy bass sound. So it's really up to you, but it allows you to totally go in and kind of change that and tune it. But with that audio input, you could take a synthesizer, if you want to route your vocals through it and you're doing a live gig, route your vocals in through here, route it through the Steiner-Parker filter, add some brute factor to it, and now you got some really heavy rock vocals. You can also take a drum machine, route it through here as well, do some very cool resampling type of stuff. Another great thing too, I mean, if you want to simply just take your iPhone or your iPod for backing tracks that are just drums and route it through here, you can also process that as well and use the filters and the brute factor on your iPod or whatever. Another great thing with the Minibrute is that you also have CV and gate outputs for the ins and outs on the back, and you also have a very cool USB MIDI interface, which is class compliant. You don't have to install any drivers on it. You basically plug it in and it will show up in your favorite DAW host as its own independent MIDI interface. Another great thing about that is that you can take the MIDI that's coming out from your DAW and it actually converts it to CV gate information going out. So this is going to bring to life a lot of those vintage synthesizers that you may have sitting around. You can now bring them back to life and use the Minibrute to basically trigger them and sequence them with software. So that's a really, really cool feature that they've added. All these things here, again, 100% analog. The Minibrute will be shipping with some overlays. Again, because there is no presets on it, this is going to really force you to get back in and learn how to program synthesis. You're always going to have a brand new sound when you come, you know, and start programming on the Minibrute. But the overlays will have patch presets already done for you, so you can simply lay it on, adjust the knobs, and there's your patch. Also, that will be coming will be a very cool iPad application, and that will have the Minibrute, you know, graphic user interface there with the knobs. You can set the knobs the way that you like for your patch, store it, and then you pretty much will flow through your iPad, and that'll be your preset. You can have it here if you're playing somewhere, and that'll be your patch list, and you can kind of scroll through that, make the knob changes, and there you go, there's your patches. Minibrute will be set to ship, and you should start seeing it in stores hopefully by April. And the price point on this baby, it's unbelievable, $4.99. So 100% analog. This is the Minibrute from Arturia. Make sure if you get to your stores in April, go check it out. Make sure you pick one up. This thing is awesome to have. Thanks for watching.